Alright, I'm finally back home from the small break I took, but sadly, I have to tell you that I was wrong. A couple of weeks ago, I made a post about a certain character actually reacting to Ciri if you cheat your way to playing as her. I do that occasionally after that time I took her to the brothel. And so I thought that Jarl Udalryk, you know, the one from Cerys' quest, has a line of dialogue directed towards Ciri right before the ending of the game. Normally you meet him with Geralt as he moves against the Wild Hunt.
Fucking hell! Not a chance! Bjarni, you and your crew against the Imperials, I'll lead mine against the Wraiths!
You ask him where Ciri is, and he tells you that she's with Avalach.
Have you seen Ciri?
She was with your elf! You'll not cut through their plate, too thick, push him in the sea!
But for some reason, when I came here as Ciri, this happened.
Fucking hell! Not a chance! Grrr! Follow me if you dare! Death to the black dogs! Ciri, find the elf! Ah, come on, you bastards! The more the merrier!
So he sounded as though he's fighting the Nilfgaardians instead, even though he's actually fighting the Wild Hunt, and he seems to tell Ciri to go and find Avalach this time around. Initially, I thought this was a remnant of a larger version of the ending, where you actually got to play some more with Ciri after the fight against Caranthir. I imagined that you would have had to find Avalach and meet the Jarl along the way before he starts fighting the Wild Hunt, maybe even run into Eredin and get help from Krach before you actually get to play Geralt again. And then as Geralt, you would stumble upon Udalryk again, as we do in the game currently, when he actually engages the Wild Hunt, and so at this point he will know that Ciri is with the elf. You will then witness Krach's death, and Eredin will tell you that Ciri and Avalach escaped and so on. It kind of made sense to me, however that's not true. I reverted back to playing Geralt on the save where I got the different reaction. I made sure to do it before I even started the final quest, and I got the same lines again, this time with Geralt.
Have you seen Ciri?
Ciri, find the elf! Ah, come on, you bastards! The more the merrier!
So apparently it's just alternative dialogue. There is something causing Udalryk to talk as though he's fighting Nilfgaardians, while he's actually fighting the Wild Hunt, and also something that changes his reaction when he hears that you're looking for Ciri. Two things came to mind as potential reasons for this change. One was whether or not you took Ciri to see Emhyr after Kaer Morhen, and the other was whether or not Svanrige is king, because you know he murders a bunch of Nilfgaardians soon before the ending. But neither of these seem to be the answer. I actually sold Ciri on this save.
Is that what this was about? From the start?
And while Svanrige is king at this point, I loaded another save where he's also king, and the dialogue is back to the way I remember it. So it must be something else. And then it hit me that it has to be tied to whether or not you lifted the curse from the Jarl. I've actually made a video about talking to Udalryk in the harbor after Svanrige becomes king, and how that changes based on whether or not you did Cerys' quest before she died. It's a wonderful detail actually. In one of the cases he barely speaks, and if you look close enough, you can see that the Heim's shadow is still behind him. And so it turns out that this is what really affects Udalryk's dialogue here. If you lifted the curse, he sounds more sane and sober.
She was with your elf! You'll not cut through their plate, too thick, push him in the sea!
And if you did not, he's more aggressive and chaotic.
Find the elf! Ah, come on, you bastards! The more the merrier!
And as you may have guessed already, the Heim's shadow is still with him. It's a little hard to tell in here, but under the right light and angle, you can still see the long fingers and horns and everything. Now there is still the question of why, in both cases, he still sounds like he's fighting Nilfgaard at one point, while there are no Nilfgaardians in the gameplay section at all. I suppose there may be some truth to the fact that this whole scene was either not entirely finished or not properly implemented or changed somehow. In fact, if you look around, you can see Skellige ships rammed into Nilfgaardian ones. And there are other Nilfgaardian ones too, just burning. So perhaps at some point this scene was a little larger and it involved fighting Nilfgaard somehow. I don't know. If any of you can shed more light on the matter, I would very much appreciate it. I'd like to apologize again for hyping this thing up beforehand, but I did get really excited. I was in the middle of making another video when I found it, and so I didn't have enough time to properly test it. Finally, I'd like to thank you all for watching and for your kind comments on my small holiday post. They were really heartwarming to read. So that was it. Tell me if you know anything else, anything more about these curious changes in dialogue, and until the next video, stay tuned and be good.
So, might be my birthday, but I say, here's to you. Now, tell us how you're doing.